let's talk about Mike McDaniel, actually, because on this show, at least, I haven't really kind of focused on this hire. I think maybe it was kind of just timing of the show. Also, there was still some, like, he was taking interviews, but then also he was like, "Oh, I'm interviewing for the Bills job. Never mind, I'm out." Like, because obviously something happened there that maybe they had an inkling for Joe Brady. But Mike McDaniel hired as offensive coordinator of the Chargers, like you said, working with Justin Herbert, and what I think is going to be I'm very excited. I think a lot of people are, but I'm very excited for this pairing. Also, I think they announced today that he's bringing his offensive line coach from Miami with him as well, which makes a lot of sense. Kind of get that pairing going there. But what do you think about Mike Daniel with the Chargers? Just focus on not even just the steps to get there, but I totally agree with you. Like, this is the best way to reset your kind of stock. Work with one of the dudes at quarterback. That's a great way to boost your head coaching stock. So Mike McDaniel, Chargers OC, kind of just any more stray thoughts on him?
My two first reactions. Number one was, imagine if Herbert and Tua had been flipped in the draft, and McDaniel had taken that Dolphins job 4 years ago with Herbert as the quarterback, how things might have been different there. Yeah. Now we actually get to see how it would be. Yeah. And he adds a run game element. Obviously, the Charger O-line was a mash unit last year. If that O-line is healthy, I am fascinated to see what he can do. I also want Hard Knocks there. The Harbaugh, eyes darting around the room. Harbaugh, that Harbaugh,
yes,
and then McDaniel. You put them together like that. That is the NFL Films content that we need. I think that is the NFL Films content that will break the internet one way or the other. Even if there are people out there, especially Dolphins fans, who are kind of sick of Mike McDaniel's not snark, but just his character on the podium. Right? I get it. They didn't win enough games, and so you turn on the podium guy. He's going to get a refresh here, and the two of them together, I think, is must-see TV. It's still a great division. I assume the Chiefs will bounce back one way or the other. I'm not here to say that Justin Herbert is all of a sudden going to ride to the Super Bowl with Mike McDaniel, but I do think, with the all due respect to Greg Roman, that this is the reboot this offense needs. You do have to, I think, go get another weapon on the outside. I don't know that Keenan Allen can come back and do this again. Lad McConkey's a great piece. He's a great player. Trey Harris, I think, is an ascending player, and Aronde Gadsden as well. I'm partial to my orange man, but you need another weapon to stretch the field there.
Yeah, I actually even like a Marion Hampton at back. It actually fits for this because Hampton's he's big, but he's a home run hitter. He's not big in the sense that he's going to break 15 tackles in the box. Yeah, he can run through a guy. I think the Giants game was maybe the best example of all of it. Like when he gets going, he can run over a guy and everything, but that's not how he wins. He wins finding space and then going. This is the best type of offensive system for that. Get him in space, let him build up speed and just roll. So that's going to be very exciting to watch, and that offense too. I'm very curious to see what he cooks up. McDaniel has shown new twists on the same kind of offensive stuff that the Shanahan guys have been doing for years, and then he twisted it based on Tua wanting to get rid of the ball quickly. His weapons at receiver being two of the fastest players in the league, so he just built the whole offense out of speed. Now you're getting kind of more Harbaugh personnel, which I think is going to be fun. Like now, sometimes when these guys. I'll just say the Shanahan guys, Kubiak guys, maybe when they always get their pick of the litter, that cannot sometimes work out as well because you maybe need another guy going like, well, you actually need this at offensive line or you need this in the receiver room. You can't just run a bunch of guys with 99 speed on Madden, build a whole receiver room out of it. You're going to need a little bigger body or something. It's kind of fun sometimes when maybe someone else buys the groceries for them, to use a Bill Parcellsism. Like they buy the groceries for them and let them cook with that and see what they kind of come up with those ingredients as opposed to maybe the ones that they pick. They might not be able to pick it for themselves perfectly. Pick that themselves perfectly. But I'm really I'm very excited about this pairing. I think everybody that's a football watcher should be. I thought this was the best the Chargers could do. It's someone different than Greg Roman. Is not like the worst thing that's ever existed. Don't get me wrong. It was just that he showed to me that when things weren't ideal, the offensive line falling apart, the other aspects of their team, other injuries that they had, he wasn't able to mitigate that and kind of pivot. McDaniel has showed offensive line was falling apart. All right, we're going to do this with the run game. We're going to do this with the play action game. We're going to put the quarterback on the move. We're going to change up the blocking angles. We're going to do motion just to help everybody out. So even if things go how they typically do in LA, everybody getting hurt, I'm more encouraged because McDaniel has shown to me that like he can kind of at least mitigate it enough and maybe get this quarterback still kind of like staying in line, not feeling pressed and seeing it all devolve like we've seen the last couple of years with LA, or just anytime Justin Herbert's playing quarterback for the Chargers.
Has anyone connected the dots? And because the Niners, obviously, their injuries must come from an electrical substation next door. The team, however, who has electricity on their helmet, their injuries have nothing to do with their electrically themed nickname.
Has anyone put that together? Is this a new theory?
No one's, because they have their injuries too every year. I'm actually, Nate, really want to pick your brain. I'm curious because the last couple of years, post-concussions, plural Tua, it seems like McDaniel's got to call plays so that his quarterback can't be hit. Like, he can't be hit. You can't run him. You can't move him, at least not much. Mm-hmm. And that ball has to come out quickly. How does McDaniel adapt now, I would think in a good way, to a quarterback that seemingly is like RoboCop, right? That seeks out contact.
Yeah, Tua, for better or for worse, this was my way of kind of like backhand complimenting Tua. Tua knows what he is. Like, he knows he doesn't have the biggest arm. He knows he has to get rid of the ball quickly. He knows he's not a creator. But that's also the negatives of, like, why would you take someone that can't do all those things top 10? That's a longer discussion. But I think what McDaniel tried to do with all this speed and everything and how the offensive system was, well, Tua wants to get rid of the ball quickly and be accurate with it. And all right, so we'll just make the offense and we'll just put the guardrails of this offense towards that. Herbert has shown that he can kind of handle a little bit of everything. How I envision how this offense is going to be is a little bit more what the Rams are doing a little bit with Stafford, where there's play action and there's no RPOs. Like, I think the RPO aspects of this offense are taken out. RPOs aren't super heavy in a Shanahan offense. They would rather just they like church and state. Run it or pass it. Like, there's no merging of these worlds. So yeah, there's a couple. I'm not going to say they never do it, but that's not exactly how they like want to build the whole offense out of it. So I envision more of a Ram system in the sense of the play action game is very heavy, not just personnel, but heavy action where it's deep action. I think maybe the best way I can put it is Tua operated a lot on quick game timing, 3-step timing, whether it was the gun or not. Stafford, and where I'm envisioning Herbert in this offense, is 7-step timing, deep ball timing, digs, and seem a lot more vertical element. I think it's hard because the Miami Dolphins offense was vertical, but it wasn't in the sense that's traditional because it was Tua throwing it to 12 to 15 yards and then the fastest guys in the world catching it and then running and going and gone and taking it to the house. While I envision this more as like a physical deep pass game, like more of an old school play action game. I think maybe the best way to put it. That's why I'm excited about it. I think it's just going to be more of that kind of traditional sense of how they do it. I'm curious of how I think Ladd is going to be the guy in this offense. I think that's someone that McDaniel is going to really like because of just his route running and timing and everything. But I see just a lot of those in breakers, a lot of big play action plays that take a little bit more to set up, but McDaniel's a lot better at helping protection, as opposed to what Greg Roman has done maybe the last few years of that. So that's just how I'm envisioning it anyways. And that's what's cool. He adds new twists that I don't even picture at McDaniel. So that's why I'm curious what he decides is what they need and everything. So any more Chargers stuff? They might get Jim Leonard. Did you see that defense coordinator there? Interviewing Jim Leonard. Do you have any Leonard thoughts?
Yeah.
He's a Badger, so of course I'm a little partial to him, but
I mean, Jim Leonard has been able to, he's been a guy that's been in demand for a couple of years now. I think LA's a good fit. Certainly.
I do too.
They got big shoes to fill, obviously, with Jesse out the door. I think Jesse did a fantastic job, especially 2 years ago, making the most with the talent that he had, overproducing probably with the talent that he had. I think Joe Ortiz has his work cut out for him. I mean, is Khalil Mack coming back? Like,
I think he is, but like, who knows? They signed Tier Tart. I don't know what Khalil Mack's deal is.
Right.
Yeah. No, they said, he's a free agent, but he's coming off the injury. So like, that's the thing too. Of course, he's a Charger player coming off an injury, but that's the thing too. They might just go, okay, hey, we had enough of that, and we just want it. And they traded for Oweh, Adafa Oweh. So, and I think he was a free agent.
He knows how to get to the quarterback.
All of a sudden, crazy.
All of a sudden, like, just couldn't do it at Penn State. That was not coming out. Never sacked the quarterback. I remember talking to actually then he was Jason, but Odafe Oweh, he went by Jason, obviously, when he was coming out. And we were having this conversation live on NFL Network, and you had to ask the inevitable, like, hey, dude, like, this is the knock. Why no sack production? And he gave whatever his rehearsed answer was from his agent. I almost felt bad asking it, honestly, Nate. Yeah. But then I said, hey, man, how about spinning it this way? Can I offer a suggestion? He said, what? I said, like, I'm looking at PFF College here, and last year you were, I think, like number 3 edge against the run, something like that. I don't know if that was nationwide or Big Ten, whatever it was, but it was a good number. It was a good rating. And I'm like, why don't you spin it that way and tell teams, hey, I set the edge, right? I stopped the run. Like, I did my job. It's not all about getting to the quarterback. I'm a team player, blah, 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 blah. And you could see, like, the smile start creeping up his face. Like, yeah, I like that. I like that answer in a meeting. Yeah. It was great to see him actually get unlocked this year and get to the quarterback. And I think that was one of those rare trades that worked for both teams as well with Gilman.
It did. Well, hey, Gilman was great for the Ravens. It was, and I at first was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he unlocked a lot of what they had. I know it was actually a win-win trade. Yeah, I had a moment like that with Tetro McMillan last year. Super Bowl time, actually. I sat and talked to him. I called him Tet. And then and I was like, do you go by that? And he corrected me. And I was like, oh, I actually didn't know that. Okay, cool. Learned that. But then I asked him, I was like, what's a part of your game that like you think you do better than you get credit for? And he was like, well, I actually like blocking, I think, more than people realize. I think people think I'm a flashy player. And I could tell it was genuine. It wasn't a coached up answer. And then I told him afterwards, I was like, hey, so like at the combine, you're going to get like a lot of those questions. So really keep harping on that. I was like, keep going. Like, no, I actually like doing it. I just wasn't asked to do it. I was like, they're going to love that. They're going to ask you about why this. They're going to ask you about you were a volleyball player. Are you soft or anything? Don't act like you're like the toughest guy ever, but just say like, hey, I wasn't asked. I was the X receiver catching touchdowns. So I kind of had a similar moment to you where I was just kind of like, hey, spin it this way. I'm big. I just wasn't asked to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to say he was Hines Ward, but he was a solid blocker. And I obviously had a good rookie year this year as well.